people who passed through those gates of the Docklands Settlement, Bristol, St. Paul's, from the 70s up to them time, even before the 70s.
After the First World War, in the great city of London, there were two buildings dedicated to being a safe space for youth negatively impacted by poverty and hardship. These buildings were called the Docklands. On April the 11th, 1927, the people of St. Paul's celebrated the arrival of Princess Mary. Princess Mary came to Bristol to open a new building on Rosemary Street. This building was called Docklands. Bristol businessman Melville Willis donated £10,000 to purchase the property, making it the first Docklands building of its kind outside of London. A grand occasion that saw all of Bristol's elite, such as the Duchess of Beaufort, the Lord Mayor of Bristol, the Bishop of Bristol, the Bishop of Barking, and more, attended the prestigious ceremony. King George V and Prime Minister Stanley Baldwin both sent letters filled with encouragement and delight to mark the special occasion.
Ducklin Settlement had a canteen, a large hall with a stage, a gym with a joint shower bath and a massage room, a junior club for 12 to 16-year-old boys, a senior club room and more. Since its opening in 1927, people use the centre for religious gatherings, educational lectures and entertainment. Jimmy Cooper was a 15-year-old boxer who trained day and night at the Docklands Gymnasium. In 1934, Jimmy suffered a broken neck and was tragically killed during a match in the Gem Cinema. Thousands of people lined up along City Road as his funeral procession passed the Dockland Settlement, where he came regularly. In 1939, when the Second World War started, Docklands ran food banks to support the thousands affected by the food shortages. In 1940, the Dockland Settlement tragically got bombed, making it unsafe to use. In 1950, a young Princess Elizabeth came to Bristol to open the new Dockland Settlement building on Brickstock Road.
I was here on the day the Dockland Settlement was opened here in City Road, St. Paul's, 1950. I think Princess Elizabeth, before she was Queen, opened it. I remember the day distinctly because my mum had brought me a biro, which was something really special because, you know, we didn't have things like pens and stuff. I went up to Cheltenham Road, up by the cinema there, and stood and watched the cars go by. And when I turned round to run home, I ran straight into a lamppost and knocked myself out. And when I got home, the pen was gone and I'd lost it. And I was really, really gutted. So that was a distinct memory. And this was really, really special to have a brand new building as a youth club. And all the equipment was new and everything, you know, we didn't have new things. Everything we had was second hand, you know. We used to play on bomb building sites.
Docklands Settlement is Bristol's first community centre, and the first black youth community centre in Bristol. This very same hall, whole heap of dance in the 70s. Some of the juvenile them in them time they just turning adult in this very same hall. Locker sound, Bastion sound, Section sound, whole heap of sound man come from this place. They used to have a man who used to run this place. Him named Mr. Wade. Anybody who passed through this place have to remember the man there.
And I think it was a Mr. Wade who used to actually live in the flat above. And his daughter used to actually come to the club as well. I think I started Docklands when I was probably about 6 or 7. which would have been about 1966, 67. There was a guy at the front desk, so you'd come in, he'd call your name, and then you'd give him your, I think it was 2 and 6 or something like that, and they'd take you off, and then your parents would take you in and then leave you with the youth workers. And then we would like play games, believe it or not, tap, ballet, all the board games, draft, chess, Othello. We used to do snooker, all the games, handball, netball, football. And like sometimes on the weekends, we do like barn dancing, line dancing. So I think every sport that was going, we more or less learned, and games we learned in this youth club.
I think I started coming to Docklands when I was about 15, 16. It was a place where all of us used to come and socialise, meet friends, have a laugh. Won't tell you the rest because nobody was years. But yes, we used to get up to the things. Well, put it this way, my mum didn't let me come, I sneaked out.
So we play snooker. Here we could do a bit of karate, judo, boxing. I used to do a bit of boxing here. And then upstairs, where the second floor is, used to be a bar. And when we walk in, we used to go to that bar. It was very nice. We used to have dartboards and we used to play darts. I was very good at darts. I could have been a champion, but I didn't take it up. Atmosphere was absolutely brilliant at the time because it was, them days we didn't have so much pressure like you young people nowadays. And it was a really good respite for my mum and to get us down here, yeah, so they can get a break from us. And the atmosphere was absolutely brilliant. I can't tell you, not in words can put it.
So doing an apprenticeship at Rolls-Royce, I had time to buy records and I had time to build up a sound. I look at Uteman sound, 50-watt amp and 2 speakers and transistors to take out the bass and all that. And there was a time that my inspiration, I asked Mr. Wade to play music next door. And that's how I started. We come to some arrangements and from that day, way back in the 70s, I was 14 them time. I used to just play music here as a hobby, but I used to have the love of music. The kids used to come here and do karate, play all kind of games and things like that. And they had other activities. And it's a great time. I'm very proud to be part of it.
My memories of Docklands are from the ages of 7 to about 10, 11. I used to live across the road at 83 City Road, so Docklands was on my doorstep. It was the hub of the community. As kids, this is where everyone came. Do you know what I mean? So I don't know anything else. It is just Docklands. You came here to a certain age. After a certain age, then you thought you was too big to come Docklands. Do you know what I mean? But for a certain part of your childhood, this was your childhood, Docklands. So that was it.
So it would have been like late 70s, early 80s. Early 80s, I remember coming here because I heard about it through other friends. So I used to come to the youth club here. Remember the TV room? I think us girls used to spend a lot of time just hanging out. And it was so crazy because I was just saying to my friends, I remember Steptoe and Son. Steptoe and Son used to be on, and I don't know why I remember Steptoe and Son, but because I don't know why I remember that, but I just remember that was on. We'd all be in fits, we'd all just hang around and, you know, just have a laugh as girls do, young people do. I remember a lady called Norma, and funny enough, I saw her in Tesco's. Norma was elder, so she was very, very strict, but she had a good heart. You know, sometimes we'd be a bit mischievous. Upstairs, they've got a long window, and I remember us girls like banging, you know, on the traffic, banging the window, and Norma would come, and that was it, you know, no, that was it. She closed everything down, all the mischievousness. And I saw her in Tesco's a while ago, and it was really funny because I was walking, and she called me, she said, Sharon. And I looked, and it was Norma, and she remembered me. Don't remember how naughty I was, thank God. Yeah, I just remember a lady called Norma, and you know, she was someone to, you know, you listen to her, put it that way, no nonsense lady. And
Boy, I just remember my brothers used to climb out the window to come to Docklands, and I used to use the front door. And I just used to be running up and down on the shiny stairs and scraping my foot.
Back in the days, have parties here. So we used to go down to the parties, try to get in. They used to hold it down in the basement, and to get in, we used to knock the door and say, "Oh, my friend's in there. Can we go and find our friend?" And that's how we got in. Yeah.
To be honest, like the earliest memory was demonstrating outside the front of St. Paul's Settlement when Bristol Community and Voluntary Service wanted to, they were moving out the building because they'd finished, and they was going to sell the building, and people got together. Do you know Judith Davis? Judith was one of the people who was really involved with making a campaign to keep Docklands for young people.
I remember the day that I found out when I came here at 26, and I saw some young people, and they were misbehaving, and I did my big bad, you know, go to a youth centre and get off the road. You know, it wasn't very nice myself at that time. And the one thing they said is, "We don't have a youth centre," and I always remember saying to them, "Don't be so stupid. What do you mean you haven't got a youth centre? There's one down the road." When I come here, it was closed. But there was a time when we didn't have this building after the youth service left and stuff like that. And us as a community did a protest. It's my first ever protest ever. I thought I was going to be gassed and dragged in the street. I didn't know, because I've never done a protest in my life. You know, I was a good girl, do you know what I mean? Plus, I didn't want my mum to see me on TV. Get beaten up in jail by my mother. So we did a protest about getting access back to this building. The book is, so if anybody know when the book is, Cora's book is, got opened, it was then. That's when we did the protest. So we did a petition, we did everything, nobody was listening as per usual, and they opened the bookies on Grosvenor Road. Our favourite things was, we don't want a bookies, but we want a youth club. But you have to imagine, there was drums, there was dancing. It was the best protest I've ever been in my life. But yeah, they still got the bookies. As a youth worker and been on the management committee full circle for years, gosh, you guys did so much stuff here. It's unbelievable. I think you guys are the first film crew and interviewers we've had. So you set off a new president there, so well done. So badminton, table tennis, board games, dances. There used to be a lot of dances here, but I mean, way back in the day before me, but also young people wanted their youth nights. Well, when I came, it's just a manky mess. It wasn't well looked after. It had been through quite a lot of hands, I think, by the time I came. You still had the structures, the hall, the windows, but you know, the windows, everything was a bit old, not loved and looked after, I would say. It wasn't a very well cared for building. This research project has shown how much this centre was, or this building was to the community way back when. It was for everybody. And the fact that we called ourselves Full Circle before we came to this building is the very reason, because we started from naught to elders, and it goes back again and it interweaves, but you know, next generations come and it's beautiful.
There was a few local people who had experience of Docklands, like as young people themselves. So they knew that there was a mandate for Docklands just for young people, so we had to keep it for young people.
Because that's what we kept touting in our protest, was you cannot give this building away to anybody else, because of the plaque says, gifted to the young people of Bristol.
Upstairs in Docklands, we used a big hall for an organisation called Komoko. It was about the community getting together to fight the war on crack cocaine that was just mashing up
the community back then. So we used to meet here on a regular basis and discuss what we were going to do and how we were going to put things in place. When I was a youth worker here, so in the office, well, it's not the office anymore, but when you go up the stairs, that was mine and Kasim's office and Judith. But yeah, so we used that office upstairs and we did youth work here. And we also did detached youth work, which is like out on the road, talking to you where you are.
The city council at the time took it over and kept it available for young people, and that was when, in my role in 1998, that was part of my responsibility.
I first got involved with Docklands through Full Circle. I was the manager at Full Circle, and Docklands was no longer being used by Bristol City Council, and they had a policy where they were able to turn buildings that were no longer using into community assets. So I urged Full Circle at the time to apply for this, and we were successful in partnership with ACE in taking over the lease.
Like leading up to that, the building was under some dispute over like how it should be used moving forward, how it should be governed, should I say, and there were a number of things being floated around, as in like it being sold off or another kind of organisation coming in from another area to take over the building. And ourselves and Full Circle kind of said, well, actually we can step up and we can take on the building. And you know, ACE is very much a grassroots organisation, and being here in this building since 2009, which would be essentially a foundation to what we can really do to change lives and to really have a positive impact in this community.
Since I became first involved with the building, it has developed in that the first things that we were doing was probably 2 or 3 evenings of youth work. Since then, there's been a greater amount of youth work being delivered from here. Other users have hired the centre.
So we have a nursery and offices and many different users of the building, but I still feel like the foundation of, like, it's like the heart of the building is youth. So for me, that's the most important thing, and everything else can kind of, I guess, orbit around that, but the life and blood of the building is the young people.
Yeah, I think I can appreciate my contribution because it wasn't a sole effort, even though I was probably one of the main instigators in harassing every single person to agree to take it over. But, you know, it was a team effort. I'm very proud of my contribution because, as I say, my goal was to protect this legacy for the future generations, and I'm very proud that I managed to achieve that. So if there's one thing that I can look back on in my career working with young people, this is probably a major milestone.
So going forward for Docklands, you know, it's almost 100 years that it's been here. So for the next 100 years, what I like to see ultimately is it just having that recognition as the place that changes lives ultimately. I'd like it to be a place where generations can always reflect back to and always connect with and always have a place, so you can have young people really benefiting from the building and utilizing what happens here, but you can also have their parents having some connection to this building and the grandparents as well. Ultimately, it's still being a place for youth, but I just feel like I want it to be a building which is like symbolic, which is like iconic. And I feel like it's already got the precedent to be that. And I feel like over time, if we can really sustain and build on what's currently working and what we're doing well, I feel like that can manifest into it being a place where like generation on generations, like, yeah, Docklands is that place where it's like the life, it's like the soul of like bringing people together in the community. Not just to bring them together, but to also give back. So I want it to be a place where people can come here to get something from.
My involvement in the organisation was as part of Full Circle. Been a part of the organisation for about 30 years and have been the centre manager for the last 5. For the organisation of Charity Full Circle, taking on this building was a big deal for us because we finally were able to have our youth services have a purpose-built place to meet once a week. And now that the youth services are here and the community is also being able to use the building, it's just been a joy to see that this building that has such a legacy is going to continue and will remain part of the community for years to come. I personally would like to see the building become like a one-stop shop for young people. So anything or any information or support young people need, they will be able to come to Docklands to receive that. So the young people and the community both use the building, and hopefully maybe expand the building so that we'll be able to maybe have a whole space for the young people and a separate space for the community. So that's one thing that I'm quite keen to see if that can be achieved. It does seem kind of weird knowing that I used to come here as a 10 and 11-year-old, running up and down the stairs with the rest of St. Paul's at the time, and to know that the building was nearly going to either be sold or to be, you know, taken out of the community. So I feel that my role is to ensure that it remains for the next generation. After being involved in the organisation for like 30 years, I feel like we're on our third generation of young people that are coming up and using Full Circle services and now coming along and using the youth services. And I would like to see this building completely secure for whoever takes over in the future, and to ensure that as the area is changing, this one thing will be a constant for the young people in this local area and other areas.
My name is Ashley and I'm 12. The first time I went to Docklands, I met a lot of people and then made some friends.
When I first came here, I was so excited. I do girls' club and sometimes I come to olders and youngers. We sometimes do some cooking, sometimes do some art.
Go on trips and play in the sport hall. If like children are down and sad, then they can like come here, have like fun, don't have to worry about anything.
I socialise with my friends and I have fun.
When kids maybe like have something bad on their mind, maybe come here and they'll take it off of your mind. Well, it makes me happy and it's one of the places where I usually go to have fun.
Docklands is exciting, entertaining and fun.
Happy memories, community.
Docklands, yeah, it is great.
Informative.
Community, humour. Great, fantastic.
Very, very safe place.
It was fun and it was exciting.
Anything is possible.
Inspirational.
It is very loud, it's amazing and people are very nice there.
That was, yeah, good times.
Community, it's the young people, and it's the legacy, the love and the legacy. That's how I would describe this building. Yeah, I would.